Episode 22 of the On the Air podcast, starring you and today's guest. She's an environmental engineer out of Dallas, Texas. She's also one of the 3 hosts of the hit new show, the SMSPodcast on iTunes. She's 95% sarcastic, 100% great. You can find her on Twitter at Miss Henry Baby. Please welcome Monique. Good people, we're back. Another episode. I think this is going to be episode 22. Episode 22 of the OTAPshow with one of the hosts of the SMS podcast, Miss Monique, Miss Henry Baby. I like that. What's happening? I like your Twitter name because it's like I feel like that's my homegirl. Who is that? That's Miss Henry Baby. You know Miss Henry.
Miss Henry Baby. Please say the baby. No.
Exactly. You recently cut your hair.
I did. Can I actually say something about my name? So when you say Miss Henry Baby, do you think of like Lil Wayne or anything? Do you think of anything like that? Because I feel like people think it's like Wheezy F Baby.
No. No. I think of it just as in the flow of that's my homegirl and cool conversation.
Oh, that's good because that's actually what I intended. And when people are like, please say the baby and all that stuff, I'm like, no, that's not
Miss Henry Baby, please say
But it works. Okay. I was just wondering. I don't know.
That's exactly how I say it when I see it, and I say it. I say, Miss Henry Baby.
Good. The baby is like the excitement.
Exactly.
I did just cut my hair. That was really intense. So it was like I thought about it for like a year, to be honest with you guys. I thought about it for like a year, and I was like, I love women in short hair. I think they look beautiful. I love the way it shapes their face. And I was like, I don't know if I'll look good in that. And I went to my beautician, and I was like, look, I want to cut my hair off. She was like, whoa, are you sure? I was like, yeah, I want to do it. She was like, you sure? Because, once you do it, you can't go back. She was like, it'll grow back. I was like, no, let's do it. So, and it worked out pretty well, I think. I love my short hair. I felt like a completely new woman. I get it. I get why women do it.
It looks really nice. It works for you.
Thank you. It's already growing back out, so I kind of have this weird bob thing going. But I'm going to go ahead and snip it on back and get my Rihanna back. So we'll do that.
When you say it was intense, like I know that for some women, like they're getting their hair cut, like is this big thing. What was so intense about it? Was there a reason behind why you cut your hair?
Yes and no. I mean, I don't think I think cutting your hair is like very drastic, especially for women. I think like if you're going from 20 inches of hair to 4 inches of hair, I think that's just change. So I just associate that with intensity automatically. Like I didn't have necessarily a reason outside of I do not like doing my hair. So I'm going to be honest there. I'm very lazy when it comes to hair. I love playing with other people's hair. But having my arms up all day trying to do my hair, it takes like 4 to 5 hours with my hair in its natural state. And I will be able to wash it, dry it, and put it in a bun. So that takes 4 to 5 hours of my time. No, thank you. That's not really what I like. So chopped it all off. And that was basically it. I just wanted an easier life, and it's been much easier.
Do you intend to let it grow back out, or do you just want to keep it short?
So I have like a fade in the back too, and that's kind of what I played with before I cut my hair off. So I was like, let me just see how I feel with like the back. It's like an undercut, I think it's called.
See, that's the part we don't see.
Right. That's the part you don't see, but I think you can see it. I haven't taken a picture of the back or posted one yet, but I should. I got that done at the beginning of the year, so that was like my New Year's, new me thing. Mm-hmm. And I said I was going to grow it out, and I still haven't. I just got it done like a week ago again. So I say I'm going to grow it back out, but I'm probably not. And the thing about just like it being intense with women cutting their hair, with me cutting my hair at least, I think with longer hair you can do more. So it's a little scary sometimes thinking that you kind of have like 3 to 4 styles you can do with short hair. With longer hair, you can put it in a ponytail, you can curl it, you can do a lot of more fun things with longer hair, I think. And then with shorter hair, you kind of just wake up and go. And that's basically the point of it. But I think that's another thing about how intense it is when you cut all your hair off, as far as that goes.
Cool. Where are you
Yeah.
from?
Where am I from? So I grew up in Plano.
Okay.
I think more people know about my city. But my culture, I'm Panamanian. So I was raised in a Latino home. My
I
mom is
knew it.
Panamanian.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it. I knew it.
Yes,
I
yes,
knew
yes. My
it.
mom is Panamanian. My dad is Panamanian. So yeah,
I
that's my
wish I should
culture.
have. I wish I would have came out with that. I knew
What
it.
was your guess? What did you guess? Did you guess I was Panamanian
Yes,
specifically?
yes, because
Really?
yes, and I'm going to tell you why. Right. So
Please do.
I knew that you spoke two languages, and I knew that I knew that it was Spanish, and as I looked at you, I was like, okay, it's either you took a Rosetta Stone, or it's family, right? So then I went down my list and I was like, Cuban? No, she's not Cuban. Not Cuban. She smiles too
My
much to be Cuban.
my butt not big enough yet. But
And all right, and so then I started looking at features, right? So I was trying to place what part of the world, and then it hit me. I was like, I bet she's Panamanian. I bet, and I
are
started to come out
you
with it.
are you what do they say? Are you foreign? Are you from any foreign countries outside of America?
No, 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 no. I am born and bred, but I used to date a Panamanian.
Excellent. So see, when the people that know that I'm, Black Latina or Afro Latina or like Panamania, they usually know other Panamanians or are from other countries themselves. That's what I found, the people who kind of notice that distinction there.
Yep,
Otherwise, I'm a Black woman and I am okay. That's exactly what I
absolutely,
am too.
absolutely. All right, all right, so your
Wait a minute now. Wait a minute. We're not going to just slide by that.
what?
You dated a Panamanian?
Yeah, I did,
Uh,
and I didn't know she was Panamanian until we were all out. She was someone that it's about to get deeper. She was someone that I
we don't have
worked.
to get too deep. We don't
No,
have to
no,
get too
no,
deep.
it's fine, and we could go in super depth because it's a lot to it when when I do your show. But we worked together and we were all out for a business dinner, and we were talking about cultures and whatnot. So I'm just thinking, I'm like, oh yeah, she straight from New York, the Bronx, Brooklyn, whatever, what have you.
I have
Black.
cousins in the Bronx in New York.
So it came up, and she was like, "Oh, I can't participate in that because that conversation. I don't want to participate in that conversation because I'm not black." And I looked at her, and I'm looking at her, I'm like, "What do you mean you're not black? What?" So then I'm like, "All right, well, what are?" She was like, "Well, I'm Panamanian." I was like, "Okay." So I didn't. It wasn't clicking for me at the time.
Right,
And
right,
then
right.
and then she said something in Spanish. I was like, oh, like real like Panama. Like okay, cool. And
Right,
and
right.
and so it was a cool history lesson. And so I'd seen pictures of her dad, who had a fro, and I was like, yeah, he lived life here as a black man. Period.
Right, right, right. My
Period.
dad is like 10 times darker than me, beautiful chocolate skin. My mom is like a couple shades lighter than me, and I'm just like right in the middle. So I totally get it. Totally.
There's a lot to that situation.
There is, it
Yeah,
sounds like.
yeah. It's a lot, and I don't know that I've told anybody that. So you guys might get the first scoop.
Right. So something kind of stood out to me what she said. She said she's not black. So I kind of get teased. I've never said that. I am black, very, very black. Um, I I guess this is kind of a conversation for you guys too. Is there like a special distinction? Like, did you agree with her in saying that she wasn't black, she was Panamanian? Is there
No,
like a separation there,
no.
in your opinion?
Well, no. For me, it wasn't. But I was open to what she was saying because I wanted to understand where she was coming from with that. And I
Right.
think what she wanted to stress was that she was she was Hispanic. She wanted me to know that I think
Right.
that was her way of saying, "Hey, I'm Hispanic." Not necessarily. I don't think
Right.
she meant, "Hey, I'm quote unquote not black." I think she was
Right.
focusing on the Hispanic part.
Right. And I think so. What we like to kind of differentiate is that we are black of Latin descent. We have Latin descent there. I know that a lot of times you said you don't want to contribute to something. I know there are some instances where we don't necessarily want to contribute to a conversation that can seemingly be a little bit removed from what we were raised as or what our culture is of Latin descent, because it is a little different from, Black descent. So
Yeah. So back to your parents, right?
my
So
parents.
you were saying you were giving me where they were from, and both. Now I can't remember. Did you say both your parents were are Panamanian?
Panamanian.
Okay, all right.
Right, right, yes. So a little bit about how they met, right? Is that what we're going through?
Yeah.
They actually met at a Panamanian picnic. So there is an annual Panamanian picnic in North Dallas, held like every May. And so we kind of go, our family goes every year. And that's where my mom and dad met. And they got married 2 years later, I believe, a year later. So, yeah, that's how they met. And we've been in Texas, Dallas ever since.
What brought them to the States?
Opportunity. That's such a, I think my mom specifically came for modeling, but she's way too short. So they kind of shut her down real quick with that. My dad, I think, again, he just came for the job opportunities, and he got a job immediately when he moved. He was fairly well established before my mom moved up here, and he met her at the picnic. So.
Let's talk about you and growing up, right? So, growing up in that culture, and I must say, the Panamanian culture is a very rich culture, and you guys can cook.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
I've
We
had
sure can.
I've had some Panamanian dishes. Please do not ask me what they were. All I know is that they were great. A little spicy, but they were great.
I was going to say, we got the seasoning in there. We got the little kick in there. You got to be careful. Because we used to the kick. People around us are like, what is this? A little spicy.
Yeah. So who were you in high school?
Wow. Who was I in high school? Wow. I was the studier. I tried to get, I was in sports. I did track. I played basketball 1 year.
Oh, okay.
Wait, was that? No, I think I did basketball 7th and 8th grade. That wasn't necessarily high school just yet. But I did track and I played soccer. So I've been playing soccer my whole life. My whole family plays soccer. My mom, my dad, uncles, everybody, we all play soccer. And I kind of studied a lot. So I graduated early. I graduated high school early. I was very eager to leave my parents' house. That's as simple as I can put it. So a lot of I decided to do it my junior year. So I was already in advanced classes, like the 2 or 3 grade levels up in math and science and history and all of that. So it actually kind of worked out for me that I wanted to be, quote unquote, graduating earlier, a year ahead, because I was already like taking advanced classes. So I don't know, that's who I was. I was pretty boring. And that's kind of ties in with your question about how I grew up. I grew up in a very strict household, to say the least. I wasn't allowed to do a lot. I really wasn't. And by that, I mean I wasn't allowed to go out with my friends and spend the night like the people around me and, stay out past midnight and, go to the movies with a guy and all that stuff. That stuff came way later. So I was allowed to go to school, when I got my license. I was allowed to drive around every now and then. I went to homecoming, and that was it. Like, I was always in my books or whatever. But people knew me. I don't think I was a popular girl or anything, those kind of labels associated with high school. But I wasn't unpopular. I just studied.
One of the
ahead.
things that I noticed about you is that you're very poised. You choose your words carefully. I don't want to say reserved, but your thoughts you have your statements are very well thought out, and you're careful to a degree. Did that come from any of your upbringing?
You know me too well. I don't even know if I'm doing this. You already know all about me. You just described me to a T. I think it does. I think it has to do a lot with my personality, which, immediately is connected to how I was brought up and who brought me up, my parents. I think my parents were both very different, and I was lucky in that sense that I got a good mixture of personalities, I feel like. My mom is fairly reserved and careful, and she's more so conservative. My dad is very blunt, and he's not so careful about people's feelings or whatever. And so I think I kind of took both of those things. Like, I took my dad's idea of like honesty and straightforwardness and being very open about what you want, being very steadfast in your beliefs and your desires. And I pulled from my mom the kind of carefulness of those around me, being cognizant of how I affected people's feelings and thoughts and all of that. I think all of that ties into what you're saying. I appreciate it. I feel it's one of the best compliments I've ever received. I try to be poised, and I tell people, like, especially people that I date or anything, I tell people that I am very careful with what I say, and that comes from my personality as well as my experiences, because I've said things before that I necessarily didn't mean, or that I could have said in a better way, and they've hurt relationships. They've also sometimes I get lucky and they benefit a relationship, but sometimes you say things that you find out later, I could have said this a little bit better. I could have been a little bit less abrasive. I could have been, more careful with what I said so that it was clear what I meant, what I felt, and my intentions. And, I don't like hurting people. I don't like disrespecting people. I don't like, mean is not my natural energy. It's just not. I like to be cognizant of people around me and how they feel. And I think that's what kind of drives my not my reservation, but like my carefulness. So
You're the type of person, and correct me if I'm wrong, even after a conversation, even after this conversation, you'll probably go off and think about everything that you said before and wonder how it might have come off, even if you know that there was nothing wrong with what you said. Am I correct in that assumption?
Definitely. I think that's just a matter of like self-evaluation. Everything I do, I evaluate myself. Post, action or whatever, speech, presentation, experiment, whatever. I think evaluating first how you felt about it, how comfortable you are in yourself, and then evaluating how it made other people feel or how other people received it too. I think that's important. Otherwise, how are you going to learn? How are you going to grow? Are you just doing these things for fun? Is this just frivolous for you? I mean, we can do frivolous things all day, superfluous things, but I think there's a learning experience from everything. So yes, you are correct. I'll go back and say, hey, is there anything I could have said better? Is there anything that I missed that I actually wanted to say? Is there anything, evaluation all day.
Are you able to relax?
Am I able to relax? I take offense to that.
No.
I'm just kidding.
And I'm gonna no. Let me tell you, because I can explain that why I asked that way, because I'm kind of that way, which I am able to relax, and I ask that from the standpoint of there's someone listening that doesn't understand that and thinks that you're always on edge, that you're always tense because you're always thinking. When what they don't understand is all of those thoughts happens in a matter of seconds.
Yeah. So that's really funny you say that, because I definitely come off like that. I was actually probably 48 hours ago, Corey. Somebody, I think it was either via Twitter or text or something. I was like, yeah, I kind of got sick or whatever. I'm a little bit dehydrated. I think I kind of overworked myself, and I want to sit down and just, relax and drink some water. And I'm going to sit on this couch. I'm going to force myself to sit on this couch and not do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, yeah, please don't do anything. I know you got a list of errands right now. Do not do them. Cross them out and sit there, and just relax. And I was like, relaxing is so boring. But the older I get, the more I understand how necessary it is. So I don't think relaxing is my forefront of my plan for the day. It's not the first thing I think of. It's not anything that's on my list of things to do, right? Because I always have a list of things to do. Mm-hmm. But I know how important it is now. At least how I see how it affects me physically. I do get, my body kind of forces me to relax. Okay, Monique, relax. You're tired. Your head hurts. Take a break. Stare at the ceiling for a little bit. Sit there. Don't do anything. But I think that's the physical thing. You also touched on the fact that my mind goes at 1,000 miles per hour. And it does. I don't know if that's necessarily a good or bad thing. I think the most important thing for me is being aware of it and kind of channeling that energy in different ways that are beneficial to me. Otherwise, that's just me. It's just how I am.
I definitely think it's a positive thing. It could be a negative thing if you let it run you. Like, for instance, to a degree, I'm that way. Like, if I go into a room that I've never been in and there's people in there that I've never seen, I kind of have to survey the room. And again, this all happens in a matter of a few seconds. I kind of have to survey the room to gauge the comfort, to kind of see who's in here. It's like a defense mechanism. Otherwise, I won't be able to be comfortable to be in that room, and I have to kind of just leave out. Now, that's a positive thing from a safety standpoint, but
Definitely.
it could be a negative thing if I let it run me, and it's like, now I gotta find out every little thing about a person, as opposed to just letting that energy flow and me able to consume that at one. Does that make sense?
Exactly. No, I completely agree. I think it's like how awareness works. Who doesn't want to be very aware and meticulous and just kind of scoping out everything and being aware of their surroundings and all that. Who doesn't want to do that, right? But then there's like a line too, to where it can kind of impede other things that you need to do. So I'm the same way. I think the buzzword here is a little bit of a introversion and or extroversion.
Definitely an introvert. Definitely.
Yes. Did you say I was or you were?
Both. I can spot an introvert a mile away, and it's cool.
I really appreciate you saying that. There's two things, because number one, a lot of people that if I were to ask people that question that kind of know me like at the level that you know me, I feel like they'd say I was an extrovert. And again, that's where I talk about the channeling of the energy. I think people have that misconception of me because I can make myself comfortable. I am very friendly. I am very welcoming. I think my energy, my aura is very, high energy, happy, welcoming, that kind of thing. And I can command the room. I have a presence in the room. I have I smile, and I don't know. I feel like that's how people describe me, as welcoming. I'm warming. But what people, fail to realize is that that's not my most comfortable, position. Right. That's not my most comfortable environment.
Right.
So yes, I can and will and I'm able to be happy around people and have a good damn time. That I love doing that, but it drains me. I do not do it often.
I could give you a high five right now.
Oh, high five right here, all the way from across this country.
Is your hand up? Because my hand is up. Your hand is up?
My hand went up, for real, I promise.
Okay, cool.
Wait, which hand went up? The right one or the left one?
The right.
I'm right. Okay, because I went up right too, but just know I'm left-handed. Shout out to all the lefties listening. That's cool. I'm left-handed.
There it is. I'm going to do the sound. I'm going to do the sound. We just high five. There it is.
Excellent. With the right hand. Are you a lefty?
I am a righty. My brother is a lefty. My little brother is a lefty. He's a southpaw.
I bet your brother is an amazing human being.
He is a good. He's cool. I love. You know what? He's
all right, brother. Don't listen to Corey.
No. Here's the awesome thing about this, and I know we're kind of going off. He's the type. We're structured two different ways. I could follow a structure. He can't follow a structure. If you give him a plot point of what you want done, he'll go out and create something beautiful, but he'll never be able to follow those instructions. I'm joking when I say he's not a good guy. He's an awesome.
I know.
He's awesome.
I'm like that with my siblings too.
He's having a hard time with something right now. He's having a trial that he's going through.
Those are necessary, and you grow from those. So if he grows from it, that'll be good. No worries.
But back to the introvert thing. So when people look at you and they say, I bet you're an extrovert, my assessment is, in a room full of introverts, you're probably the extrovert.
Why do you say that? What is that? So it's like relativity here, right?
Well, no. What I mean is you're definitely an introvert. But I mean, if you were in a room full of introverts, you'd probably take on the
I'd
extrovert
probably
role.
take on the extrovert role. I
Yeah.
get you.
Yeah.
That's very fair. I like that assessment. That's fair.
And
Yeah. Go ahead.
what people don't understand is, and I have this conversation from time to time, is that when because I'm an introvert, and there are times when I don't necessarily want to deal with people. My job, I'm a corporate trainer, and I was talking to my boss. She was like, "Are you an introvert or extrovert?" And I was like, "I'm an introvert." She's like, "I would have never guessed it." I'm like, "Yeah, because I'm at work." But
Right.
the thing is, what people don't understand is it's not that we're not sociable. We're very sociable. We just want it on our terms. Being an introvert or an extrovert has more to do with how you recharge. In a room full of people, I'm losing energy. I have to prepare myself for that. By myself, long drive by myself on the couch, I am like I'm at a circus.
I love long drives. I love road trips. I love them. I love it.
Yep.
Completely agree. It really is. It really, really is all about the energy. I feel like I've said that word 18 million times in 5 minutes.
No, that's
but
fine.
It really is about the energy. And I think the biggest problem I run into is, or probably any introverts, is our relationships, our close relationships.
Yep.
Because obviously a relationship involves other people. And a lot of times we need that time alone. And I'm talking relationships, intimate, friendships, all of that. We really need our time alone. And I don't know if it's a matter of people not understanding because they're not like that, or if it's a matter of people not understanding because they just don't want to. And that seems like a problem for anybody wanting to be alone, or a combination thereof. But I need people, or I need for people involved in my life to understand that my alone time is very necessary and it's good for me. And if you love me and understand me, then you know that, like, when Monique is, not answering her phone or says no, she doesn't want to go out, it has literally nothing to do with you. Literally, literally. And so it's a little bit exhausting kind of having to deal with that, obviously, because I'm dealing with people or whatever. I'm like, please do not take this as an attack on you. I really just want to sit here, I think I saw a little meme on Twitter not too long ago, and it was saying something like, oh, hey, do you want to hang out? And, like, the little stick figure was like, no, I have plans, and it, like, laid back down.
Yep.
And I was like, dang it. They know me. They know me because I'm real good. I'm like, I got a lot to do today, y'all. And my lot is me sitting with my brain and just sitting here and not doing anything, not being around anybody, not trying to, be involved with anything.
If I tell someone, if they say, what are you doing today? Or what do you have going on this weekend? And I say nothing, I don't have anything going on. That's not me saying I need you to fill that with space. That nothing is a designed nothing. I want that time.
I just put my hand up and, like, grabbed something because I think you just said something. You sent it this way. That was amen. I think that was a word right there.
Exactly.
Me saying nothing is not an invitation to fill that. It's not my nothing is not a void. My nothing is a necessary presence for me.
Exactly. The way I relate to that is at work on my calendar, like when we're scheduling meetings, I'll just schedule a block of time that's completely nothing. When you look at it, it shows that I'm busy. As far as I'm concerned, I am. So, yeah.
So you keep talking about careers, and I think I'm lucky enough, as much as my brain goes at 1,000 miles per hour, it's kind of like, it's one of those, like, there's a method to my madness. So I'm an engineer, and my main focus right now is environmental engineering. This is the boring part of the podcast. What I want to get more into is wastewater treatment. That's something that's very dear to my heart.
That's awesome.
That's something that, in my opinion, should be dear to everyone's heart, because do not take for granted the water that you drink and bathe with and wash your hands with and anything else that you do with your water, because there's a lot that goes into that. And for our earth to be 70% water and for it not to be accessible, to me, is just like, it's mind-boggling. And us engineers, we try to fix that. We try to regulate that, EPA and all that stuff. We try to protect the environment so that we keep having this water. The most recent thing, I think the thing that people know about most is what's going on in California right now. But anyways, I could see that whole podcast could end up being about that. So let me not get into it too much.
No, that's fine. That's good.
So, but I swear I'm tying this into introversion. But so a lot of what we do is just data. We literally, I know it sounds boring to everyone, but we sit there at a computer and we analyze data. We find solutions for better ways to get, to conserve water. We find solutions of, better treatment plants, and all of that kind of stuff, better dams and location and geotechnical, geotechnical equations is what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. So the reason why I love what I do, genuinely, is because my introverted my introverted self can live in that space. I can live with staring at my computer or, punching or crunching numbers all day, basically. Mm-hmm. That I'm comfortable, And so there's actually, when we talk about not necessarily weaknesses, but we call areas for improvement, is my ability to kind of switch from, not necessarily switch from introversion to extroversion, but kind of, adjust around people, because there's value in being able to communicate with the people around you, right? Period. I think in college, maybe not my favorite course, but my most important, the course that I'll never forget, I took was engineering communications. And for me, there was nothing that touched me more than when my professor said, a lot of engineers were known for what we know, what we can do. And a lot of times we miss how to communicate that effectively.
Wow.
What is the point of knowing how to crunch these numbers and how to do these equations and how to set this chemical reaction this way if you can't communicate it to someone who doesn't do that on a regular basis? It's pointless. And that really just stuck with me. If you see here, it's still stuck with me. And so in my work and in everything that I do, I try to make sure that if I'm doing something, that I can communicate it effectively, to where it benefits them, but also, gains like a little bit of respect for me and what I know and what I'm doing. So there's like a lot of levels to, my career. I think everybody's career, but, from a math equational standpoint, trying to translate that to someone who's a business, who's on the business aspect, you're all working together, or someone who's on the legal aspect, you're all working together. You need to be able to communicate these numbers to them so that they can, translate that into, the structural engineer can translate that into the real world. The legal person can get the right documents, the permits, and all of that. So, yeah.
What is the most amazing breakthrough in water treatment that you found in this career, or that you've seen?
So breakthroughs with water treatment,
or just something that you found was like, wow, I didn't know that we could do that, or something like that.
Well, so I think a lot of it came in college when I visited wastewater treatment plants. That's what kind of like got me really into it. I don't even like chemistry per se, but it's really all chemistry and how we treat water that we pull from lakes and oceans. So I think one of my favorite breakthroughs is just how we clean our water. So I don't know. If anybody that's listening to this, if they want to go, seriously, go to a wastewater treatment plant and see what your water it's coming out of your faucet, any of your faucets, looks like before it's treated and what it's treated with. And I think that's where there's the most dynamic in how we treat our water depending on where it came from and how we recycle it so that we can continue to use it. That's really my favorite thing, because these treatment plants are huge. We have you have huge lakes of water that is being treated with these chemicals, and then it's kind of flown through a pipe, and it goes out to the municipalities and all of that stuff. And I think it's just amazing, and that would have to be my favorite thing. And I think all of the breakthroughs, I think we're still active in that, and I think what it'll be in is how we treat it. What kind of bacteria, what kind of chemicals we need to treat our water that's safe for people to drink as well as to bathe in, but also doesn't, is cost efficient. So,
I was watching this little snippet on YouTube, and I have to find the full documentary. The CEO of 5 Hour Energy, he dedicates a portion of his time to water treatment and things like that. And what he does is he's developed some system where it can do 1,000 gallons of water in an hour or something like that. So what he does is he has this machine on these barges out in the water off the coast of the mainlands of countries that need this, and he'll have like on this barge thousands of these whatever the machine is. They're small machines, but they basically pump in the water from the ocean.
They're actually called pumps.
Okay,
or
cool.
like
Pumps.
yeah, and then they go to turbines and all that stuff.
Right. But and the way he showed on the map is it just sends it back to the mainland. And I was like, that's amazing. I saw this documentary.
That's literally like the epitome of civilization, like getting water to people, especially like I don't know. I think that's so fascinating to me. Just that idea that we live in a world where it's mostly water. Like the ocean is miles and miles deep, and we have people that don't have enough water on land. Like where how does that work, right? Like just thinking of that alone, it's like how is that even possible? Like there's not even as much land as there is water, and we can't get enough water,
and we don't have enough.
It's like what? And so that process to me is so important because people don't. I think when people stop and they if they were to think for 2 more seconds, look, man, do you go into the ocean and throw in some food coloring and then drink your Dr. Pepper or your 5 Hour Energy? No, that water has to be cleaned even to be transformed into something else, into the products that you drink, into the water that you bathe with, and all that stuff. So yeah, very interesting for me.
Can you taste the differences in water?
Yes, I can. We took classes on that as well. And I know the reasonings, why, I use terminology like hardness and, visibility of water and stuff like that. And, the chemicals that cause different things, or water to taste differently or look differently or whatever. I convinced my mom the other day, I don't know why I thought about this, to get a filter. And she called me and she was like, "Mom, the water is looking kind of murky or whatever," and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, "Oh, she got me started." And I was like, "Well, Mom, the filter has a lot of particles in it." I said, "Those particles are necessary and they'll be activated. So just let the water rush out for like 3 to 5 minutes." I said, "And the water will clear up. Don't even worry about it." I was like, "Just wait though. Like let the water run, let the filter clean out." And then, so she's been loving that because she's been buying bottled waters. And I was like, "Mom, why do you buy so much bottled water? Like, you don't need to do that. Like, think about how much money you're spending. Think about what you're doing for the environment." Nobody's trying to hear me.
Show her
I
this
convinced her,
documentary.
so that's one less person that's buying bottled water all the damn time. We got a filter now.
Show her this documentary on Netflix.
There's definitely Netflix, so I will have to let her know.
It's about bottled water, and
I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah, and as I'm talking about, I'm looking for the name of it right now because it's about bottled water, the money that goes into it, and some of the dirt behind some of the corporations behind that has it. Like again, this is water that's accessible to us. And like they've gone into these different communities that water belongs to them, and now all of a sudden now you've got to pay them for it. I am looking for this right now.
And not only the water, but the packaging, the bottle itself.
Exactly.
A lot of controversy there as well. Yes.
Oh, I think this is it. Is this Bottled Life? I'm looking at it right now. No, that's not it.
If I've already seen it, I'm gonna laugh. I might know which one you're talking about. I didn't know it was on Netflix, so that's really cool. Netflix has everything. Netflix has everything, does it?
Yeah,
I think it has everything.
It does. If I find it, I'm going to put it in the show notes, and I'm definitely going to put it on the website and let you know what it is. But it blew my mind. I couldn't taste the differences in water until, I don't know, maybe sometime last year. There's 3 waters that I can taste the differences in. Other than that, I can't. It's if I filter my water with my Brita, the Brita filter. I can taste the purity.
The one that you put in there. That's the one I think I used to have the one you put in the fridge, right? The one that you filter. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I can taste the difference in Fiji water, and my girlfriend put me on Fiji water, and that is like top of the line to me.
That's the good water right there, real expensive.
Yes. And the other one is Aquafina, and Aquafina is nasty to me. And after watching,
nasty to you.
It is, and I don't know if it's a psychological thing, because after watching that documentary and how they pointed out on the side of the bottle where Aquafina basically gets their water from, it says purified from public water sources. Mm-hmm. So I know what that means. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it was psychological to me from that standpoint, but I've never really liked Aquafina, period. Now, Dasani, yeah. Crystal Spring, great.
My mom's favorite was Dasani, but I think she just liked how fancy the bottles are, and there's a marketing aspect of that too.
Yep.
Because, so it's funny because I'm very much what's going into my body. So essentially, there's a difference in taste, but essentially water is water, right? Mm-hmm. It's kind of going to do the same thing no matter what for your body. So I'm not going to tell anyone, hey, don't drink Dasani. Please go for the Fiji because, honey, let me tell you, significant difference in your height. Like, that's not even the case. Water is water. You need it. Whatever you can get it, bottle, as long as it's clean, if it's in a bottle, it's clean enough for you, it's going to be beneficial. It's not, you're not getting no bunch of salt and kind of crazy stuff, and you drink your water. Exactly. So it is kind of funny. It's like, is this a wine tasting or like a vodka? Like what is this? It's all the same. Water is water. Drink your water. But there are difference in taste, and that's exactly what the deal is. It comes from. Hold on. Okay, wait a minute. Apologize. It comes from where the water is pulled from and how it's treated. So yes, you'll definitely get different tastes because water comes from different places.
All right, so let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about your show, the SMSPodcast.
SMS Pod, my show. I love it. Our show. I love my ladies.
Exactly. I'm a huge fan of the show. Since the first time I heard it. Like, I think I sent you guys an email and I told you guys I've been waiting for there to be a show that was just hosted by women that covered a wide scope of things, not just dating. Like, there's tons of podcasts with women doing that, but you guys talk about dating. You guys talk about just things going on in your lives. You guys talk about sports, all of those great things.
All of those great fun things.
How long was the show in development, and whose idea was it before you guys finally got started?
This I love it. Thank you so much, first of all, Corey. You're so supportive, and just know that support is never something that falls on deaf ears or a body or anything like that. I love the support that you give us, and everybody gives us. I mean, this wasn't necessarily done just for fun. Again, I've kind of commented earlier, like, nothing is really just, it's all for fun and I'm just enjoying myself. Of course, I get that out of it. But I hope that, people, enjoy having three Black women that have voices, using their voices to kind of teach people or maybe make people more comfortable, to come out and say stuff themselves or even, just to laugh with us. I mean, there is nothing bad about getting a laugh in a day, and I hope that at least if people listen to the podcast, they got a laugh in that day. And I'm happy with just that. But so how the podcast came to fruition. So I'm very particular about things, when I kind of birth them or whatever, when I have this idea. And so this is literally what happened. This is literally how the story went. There was a conversation on the timeline. So Twitter, we met through Twitter or whatever. Yeah. And I met both of the ladies through Twitter. Twitter's awesome. Love Twitter. We'll get there eventually. But there was a conversation on the timeline about people with podcasts. And it was like, oh, man, you got to watch out for people with podcasts, man. They got all the hoes or, whatever that means, I see that terminology a lot. It's like, oh, yeah, they got all the hoes or whatever. And so, my playful ass, I was like, oh, well, shit, then maybe I need to get a podcast. Let me find out. So I was, and I had already been listening to a couple podcasts myself. So I knew what it was. I was like, I might. I was like, I don't have all the I looked at my list of podcasts I listened to, and I was like, there's no women in here. Like, I listen to all men. And so I asked, and I was just asking around. I was like, do y'all know of any like podcasts with women? Like, oh yeah, I listened to a couple. There's one here, one there. Like, huh, okay. Maybe people want to listen to what I said. So I tweeted one thing, Corey. I said, maybe I should start a podcast. And I remember the only people that responded to that. And like, they're always in my heart. Like, I remember them because they were like, oh, I would listen. Or, oh, that'd be really dope. But I'd love to hear a woman's point of view on things, a woman's perspective. I was like, okay. So then, like, I don't know, it was probably a couple hours, a couple days, who knows. I was like, starting a podcast soon, turn up, basically. I was like, boom, I'm doing it. I joke a lot. I'm sarcastic. 95% of my tweets are sarcastic. But there was a little truth there. I was like, I'm starting a podcast soon. And my girl Shuby, she just tweeted me and was like, hey, just, make sure you got my music on there. I was like, bet, I got you. We're going to get DJ Shuby on the track. Boom. So then this other girl, she was this other girl at the time because I just recently followed her. And I was like, I love my Shayla. And so Matisse's Pieces on Twitter. So she comes in and she's like, hey, y'all, I'm down too. Let's get it popping or whatever. And I was like, okay. All right. Okay, cool. So then we kept with the jokes about getting all the hoes or whatever. Oh, shit, And so then we kind of joked, and me and Shayla and Shuby, we were like, yeah, man, we finna get all the hoes flocking. Yeah, they finna be sprinting. They ready, track meet, So we kind of just went on and on and on, right? So then I hit one of them in the DM, and I was like, yo, I'm serious. Like, it's not a game. Why can't we do a podcast? And they were like, no, I'm serious too. And I was like, boom. So we did it. And that's how the podcast came. That's why we have SMSPod, short message service. That's how we're here. And we have had an amazing time. I love talking to them. Like, seriously, that's probably my favorite part of like my Tuesdays and Thursdays, maybe of the week, besides eating, because I really like eating. But I love talking to them because you know what happens every time? It's so funny. Every time we say, hey, girls, you know what? We got 1 hour. We can get this done in 1 hour. All right, that's it. 8 o'clock. Boom, 11 o'clock. It's like, all right, so that didn't take 1 hour. That took 3. But I think I don't know, I love it every time because why stop an amazing conversation? Like, we get so many ideas out. And so I guess to get to like the nitty gritty, when we first, and as far as development goes, we first started off definitely wanting it to be just a conversation. We were like, yo, every time we get on the phone, it's funny, it's cool. We think we're funny. You don't know if anybody else is going to think we're funny. We think we're hilarious, We're like, okay, what kind of following do we have on Twitter? Do people fuck with us? Do people like us? People think we're funny? Do we think other people are funny? So we kind of took that into. So we did a little bit of playing on Skype. We did a little bit of playing on, FaceTime and all of that to kind of see how things went. Recorded ourselves. We're like, okay, so we're obviously going to have to introduce ourselves because we not know 100,000 follower people, right? We got to introduce ourselves, let people know a little bit about it, but not do too much to where, because we don't know how long this is going to go, Show 10 might be, things that we can talk about then. We don't need to put everything in show 1. So we did all of that, and we kept pushing Black women. We were like, look, man, this is awesome, a lot of us with this Black Lives Matter movement, Black women, all that support for transgender women, all that feminism, all of that. You see it all on the timeline too. So we were like, hey, man, like, this is very cool. We want to focus, on the fact that we are Black women in our lives in America, in our lives growing up and how, our age plays into it, our gender plays into it, our environments play into it and all that. We want to include that. We want it to be fun, but like there's things here, there's things to talk about here. And, so we kind of did all of that, and I'm getting to the Black Women in History segment. So that's probably my favorite part of our podcast because we do that. We said we're going to do that every time, and I think we can laugh.
History this week.
Black Women History. So that's my jam. And Shayla got that off top. She's the singer of the group. Like she'll just start singing or whatever. So we said, you know what, that's going to be like, I don't know, our staple. We're going to put that in every podcast. At the end of every podcast, y'all going to learn about a Black woman this week, period. And y'all going to know how she affected your life and our life and how amazing Black women are, in case you didn't know already. And so that's one of my favorite things about the podcast. And we love it. We kind of switch off, whoever has to, look up the woman, and we, do our little research, and we all kind of share it, and talk about anything like, oh, oh, she's in my sort, or she's my soror, or oh, like she has my birthday as well, or oh, I remember, that she was involved with this, era in history or whatever. So I myself have learned a lot that I didn't even know, even about Black women that I knew. I know even more about them. So yeah, that's SMS Pod, man. And I think been having a lot of fun. We're still in the early stages, and we've just been having a lot of fun, and we hope that a lot of people are having fun with it.
I definitely am. I've made observations about all of you guys, and I kind of had to do that because of I want to interview. But I mean, they're cool. So, of the three of you, you all have very distinct personalities. Shayla is live, like she's with whatever, like she's cool. Shuby's a little more reserved. She's a little more.
Check. She check everybody. Wait a minute, y'all. What? She would be checking.
Exactly. And you are sort of a very nice balance between the two.
Exactly.
Now, I don't know if that was by design or not, but it works out perfectly. My question to you is, what would you say your role is on the show?
So that's a very good question. I think when you get a group of people together, right, everyone kind of assumes a role automatically. There can be more than one person in a role, right? That's possible as well. But, just like any other group project since you've been doing since you was 5, everybody kind of assumes a role. And I think just because, it was my idea and I kind of have all these, we talked about how my mind is at 1,000 miles per hour. And Shuby's kind of like that with me too. I think, she's always thinking statistics and numbers and kind of all that too. But there's also like, I don't want to sound rehearsed. I don't want to sound all, robotic and everything is serious. And, this is a very serious podcast. So I think I kind of channel Shayla's side too, where like everything is live. Let's joke, let's be a little bit vulgar every now and then. Who cares, right? So I think my role is not necessarily moderator, but something kind of like that to keep things going. Like a lot of times in the podcast, I don't know if it's necessarily noticed or whatever, because it should be seamless, right? But I kind of maintain the transitioning between topics or whatever, right? Because so I'm like, hey, let's get this outline, let's get a Google Doc, let's get this deadline, let's schedule this with whoever's going to be the guest, let's get a couple points down that we for sure want to say. That's the kind of thing that I do in this group. And, I set up a Google Doc and kind of write it out for everybody. And if they want to reference it, they can. That's how I kind of operate things. So I have that in front of me. I also do the editing as well as the recording, So if anybody has any issues, it's like, boom, Monique. Hey, pause. Hey, Monique, I can't hear you. Or, I can't hear them or whatever. So I kind of have, the tools in front of me to be like, let's transition here. Let's be aware of time. Let's be aware of all, everything that we're doing. So I think I kind of moderate, and like you said, balance. It's just a healthy balance, We talked about this in episode 3, and even in our development stage before we put out any podcasts. It was kind of like one of us will need to maintain the transitioning and keep things flowing. And there's a reason why all 3 of us come together. The very first few things or feedback that we got was about our chemistry. It was like, oh, y'all just mesh so well. And it's like, we didn't do that on purpose because, I just told you how we came about. It was like, yo, put me on the track. And she was like, yo, what's up? It was like, kind of that thing. So really, nothing was really calculated. It kind of just really worked. And I think that is because our personalities, you got Shayla on one hand, quote unquote, you got Shuby on the other hand. But it's not that Shayla isn't serious and can't contribute, and it's not that Shuby isn't live and loud and fun and all that stuff too. We all got it in us, and we all channel each other and we check each other and we do. It's a good mix. So I think that's my main role is like moderate, keep things in line, keep things going, keep things professional but also fun, and just kind of keep the balance going. So.
That's interesting that you said that, how you were saying that it's not that Shuby isn't live and it's not that Shayla can't be serious. One thing that I've noticed is that there's been at least one episode that I called one, like your breakout episode. So for instance, with you, I think, in my opinion, your breakout episode, and what I mean by breakout is there's an episode where each one of you had an opportunity where you're like, it was either just you owned it or your personality like was just out front, and we really got to
Right,
see
because
it.
of the topic or what have you, right?
Exactly. I think yours was episode 4. And that's the one where you guys were it seemed like it kind of struck a nerve where the do's and don'ts of social media, like you really had some you really went in. I think that was your episode.
That's so funny. Really?
Yeah,
Thank you.
I think that was your
I'm going to
episode.
take it as a compliment.
It is a compliment because they have theirs too, and I would share it with them when they do
I'm
my show.
excited. I'm excited to hear. That's interesting. A breakout episode. That's very cool because that's something that I pay attention to too. It's like for instance, I think my quote unquote most reserved episode was our friend zone episode, and I said that in the podcast before we started recording. I said, look, this is something that not only do I not really know a lot about, but like I can tell it's like going to strike some nerves with people that I'm involved with and other people as well.
You took a back seat.
So I did, and I was like, hey, look, I am just going to ask these questions. Like that's kind of my role anyway. I'm literally going to let y'all handle this, and I'll put in my 2 cents, but it'll be good because again, the word balance, I think that's important. When you have 3 people on a podcast and you don't have one person that's like, hey, this is the show, and then here are people going, you don't have that. There is, it can be lost in conversation if people don't know us, if people are just joining in. It's like, whoa, these 3 girls are just talking, what are they talking about? And so I think the Friend Zone podcast was like my most reserved, most likely. Mm-hmm. But as far as episode 4, so there's a thing there. So I kind of want to tie it into introversion, right?
Okay.
I think that the reason why, not that I'm so, I'm involved. I'm involved in social media. Not that I'm so involved or comfortable or whatever, but I think the reason why maybe that was something that I felt very close to me is because I don't dislike interaction, right? It's not that I am afraid of it or that, I dislike it or whatever. It's just not my preference, That's why I use the word preference a lot. It's just not if I were to, set a hierarchy of things that I like, it's not interacting with people at the top at all. However weird that sounds. But I think, and a friend of mine said it really nicely the other day, it's like, I think Twitter is an outlet, at least for me, as an introverted Twitter person. Mm-hmm. It's an outlet for introverted people to still have those social interactions. Yep. And please don't let it be lost. These are very valuable, important, pivotal interactions that I've had on Absolutely. Twitter and Instagram Absolutely. And Facebook and all that stuff. They are very valuable. And I don't not even don't like, but I don't understand or I don't know where it's lost that there's a importance, there's a level of value in interacting with people online as opposed to interacting with people in person. Right. I think they're just different mediums. I don't think necessarily one is less valuable or not as valuable because I've met people through Twitter. Absolutely. So how is this app not as valuable? Because I've just now made this connection in this era where, computers and internet and online dating and all that stuff, that's prominent, so if I can channel that into getting a job, into getting money, into getting friends, into getting, book clubs started, into getting anything, like, protests started, all of that, like, it's there and that's real. These are real things that you can, feel, tangible things that come from Twitter. So I think I kind of broke out in that because I am very reserved in my lifestyle. And so when we talk about the do's and don'ts of social media, there you go again with like the introduction we talked about, like I'm very careful. And that's, these rules that we set is like kind of how I dictate myself and like how I even evaluate a tweet after I've sent it 2 days later. It's like, hey, that was a little weird, I hope people took it right. And if not, well, I guess fuck them, So yeah, I think that might have been why it was my breakthrough episode. According to you, that makes sense. I really enjoyed that one. Again, I told you again how I'm the one that kind of writes down all the rules and stuff. So in that podcast too, I was the one that's like, hey, let's get a Google Doc started. Let's do 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's figure out, what we like and what we don't like. And even as I'm talking right now, like I can tell you the things that we see on social media that we do not like or that we do like. So
yeah, that definitely came out in that episode.
What is it that they say? Not that you wear your heart on your sleeve. Is that the thing? I'm terrible with sayings. People that know me know that. Is
I
it
think I know what
wearing
you're
your heart
talking
on your
about.
sleeve,
Yeah.
or just like I my ability to hide my emotion or my passion is terrible. I can't do that. So yes, my tone of voice, my body language, my eyes, my everything will kind of tell you how I feel about something or how strongly I feel either way. So yeah, if that was evident in that podcast, good job.
It definitely was. Is there a website, or are you guys developing a website?
Is there a website? So we thought about Facebook, and we probably had Facebook up for a week or two. And we're like, we don't use this. We don't use this. We're not using this. Let's go ahead and deactivate. Our very first thing was, since this was all a Twitter thing, we made a Twitter. So we do not have a website, www.anything.com.org.gov. We don't have that. But I think we definitely should. I read something a while back about how important it is to establish a website, not only for yourself and your thoughts and your archives and all of that stuff that you put online in general, but just creating a brand websites again in this generation, like that's very valuable. So I know that's something that we're considering that we need to have going as soon as we get a bigger following and we figure things out and we kind of get some designers to help us make it real pretty. Because I don't know if you noticed our new logo.
I
How do you
did
like
notice your
our new
logo. That
logo?
was coming up next. Yeah, I did.
Hey man,
The cool little envelope. That's nice.
isn't that cute?
Yeah, I like it.
One of Shayla's friends did that for us, and that was awesome. I loved our first logo. We loved it when it first came out. I was like, oh, I love red. Let's do red. Red. Learned that in like marketing classes, advertisement. Red catches the eye.
It's easy for I have a lot of podcasts that I listen to. It's easy for me to find you guys' podcast because of the red.
See there, guys. Say that again for him one more time.
It's easy for me to find your podcast because of the red.
Exactly, and I think that's where it has to do with the sensors in your eyes or whatever, and how they receive color. But yeah, so there's levels to this, right? But so now ours is a white gray, but I think there's we still got our red spots or whatever. Yeah. So it's not as it's probably not as easy to find anymore, as popping out at you anymore.
Well, I mean, it's near the top of my list, so I mean,
excellent.
Exactly.
Thank you again, Corey.
No problem. That's cool that you guys have a logo. I'm still trying to figure out what I want mine to be. I mean, so, I have an icon. I don't want that to be my logo.
That's the microphone, right?
Yeah.
So we looked at yours when we were looking at logos, by the way. I'm just going to let you know.
Oh, okay.
We looked at yours because of the layout. So like iTunes and SoundCloud, they're very particular about like sizing of the pictures. And to be honest with you, that was probably the thing that took us the longest, trying to adjust the size of our logo.
Yes.
Like, we did all the recording. We did all of the, descriptions, RSS feeds, all that good stuff. Then we got to the image and we were like, why won't this fit? Like, dang it.
Me too.
So we saw yours and we're looking, I was like, hey, this is really simple, but this, and I'm not simple in a bad way. Like, it's very, when you have a logo, there's like an idea that you don't want it to be too busy. You don't want too much going on.
Right.
That draws people away, but you want something that stands out. I guess if you're trying to change it, maybe you don't want to hear me say how good it is.
No. That's cool.
That's cool. I like the colors. They're very warming colors. So it gives you like a soothing thing. So my mood that you give me before I even listen to one of your shows, it's like, okay, it's the OTAP show. It's like, all right, let's listen to it. And it's like the bold microphone there. I like it.
All right, so maybe I'll leave it for a little bit longer.
Cool. Maybe you could make the microphone maybe a little bit darker, or like a sense of like a 3D type of look. Maybe I don't know who's on your team or whatever. If you know any logos,
I definitely was going to stick with something with a microphone. So that's what I was going to do. I was going to the main change I was going to make was. So the original name for the podcast was the On the Air Podcast Starring You. People would forget to say the starring you part. It's like I tell people, it's like a Tribe Called Quest. You got to say the whole thing. But I had to start catering to people's attention spans. So I was like, okay, well let me shorten this to the OTAP show. It's easy, it's a couple syllables, you good to go, you got it, you know what it is. And so
That's
and people would still ask me, what does OTAP show, what does OTAP stand for? And I'm like, it's in the logo. So I'm thinking maybe I need to just put that in there.
That's what I'm saying. People, if it's too much going on, people don't even want to, like, when we are looking at a product or a service, we want to see exactly what it is right there, right there. Like, And it may either catch our eye or, it may be like, oh, really don't even know because it's not, the main part of your show is not evident.
Right.
So that's funny. That's really funny. Attention spans is something crazy, and that's something that I think there's, math there and science there as far as like everybody's average attention span. And that's something that I learned a long time ago. So I'm, sensitive to that as well. But it's just a little bit too, like my father kind of told me when I was younger, you need to read the instructions, you need to pay attention. And so at the same time, it's like you want to cater to them. It's sometimes, isn't it, like a little frustrating? It's like, hey, it was right there. Like it's literally right under, like your eyes looking at it, and it says right under it. But
I have to, as a trainer, I create these walkthroughs to help make my employees, my agents, their job easier. And I've seen times where they've had the walkthrough right up and it's telling them what to do, and they are confused and lost because they're looking at it as a whole as opposed to taking the time to actually go through the walkthrough. Now, I do everything I can to point it out. Like I make my arrows red and all of that. So there's a personal responsibility has to come into play, but still.
So people like that. There's benefit in looking at things as a whole, and in other aspects outside of paying attention to detail. Those people, that benefits them very well. Looking at something as a whole, the whole thing together, and not picking out certain details. There's benefits there, but that's really cool. As you said, that's what you do in your job with your.
That's part of what I do as a corporate trainer. So
as a trainer, right?
Yeah, I create, among other things, I create these different walkthroughs because the field that I'm in is in health insurance, and so
are your walkthroughs tests?
No. They're not tests.
I guess that's what I was reading.
They're tools. Okay. They're tools to help. So we
Okay.
represent most of the major health insurance carriers in the United States. Mm-hmm. And so to traverse these applications, each site is different. I go in and I test the site, and then I'll create a walkthrough around that for our agents to use so that it takes the guesswork out of it.
You help them navigate. Okay,
yes.
Got it. That's very cool.
And I'll have red arrows that point to what you need to do, and either they'll I don't know, they'll have it up and just click something wrong. Or what they do is, a lot of times what I find is that they will try to go through the website first, and then when they get stuck, go to the walkthrough and say, I can't find where I am, as opposed to going through the walkthrough first so that you don't ever get stuck and lost.
We need people like you. Because I don't care what you say when you're paying attention to detail and, and analyzing and knowing how to do stuff and navigate through things that you're unfamiliar with is beneficial. But when somebody's there to make it easy for you, if somebody's there to spell everything out for you, you best believe them. Go ahead and snatch that and take that and use that to my benefit. I call it being resourceful.
I do what I can.
We need people like you.
I do what I can.
Thank you.
One last thing I want to talk about before you go. So you are definitely you even keel. You're even keel. A little reserved. You don't come off as reckless, and that's a good thing. But I want to have some fun.
Are you judging that from Twitter?
No.
Okay.
I can't take just one medium and say, hey, this is what you are, what you aren't. I read people well. And I don't like telling people that because the first thing they do is they say, well, read me. I could do that, but no. Like, wow, no, I'm not. This isn't, it's not a parlor trick.
I didn't even ask you to, and you've been hitting everything right on the nail, or nail on the head, however that saying goes, whatever. So, props to you.
You just validate.
But I think I like to call people like you observant, and I don't see a problem with that at all.
Right.
I'm not going to ask you to read me. But I think it's very cool that you're observant. I think that's helpful to you.
It is,
and I think it's helpful to the people around you.
It's part of a defense mechanism. But people
pay attention.
People think it's a parlor trick, and it's not a parlor trick. I don't mean for it to be, and that's why I say I don't like telling people because they want to tell me something. And then in situations where I have done that, I'll say something, and then they'll either get offended. And I don't mean for them to be offended, but it's like you couldn't hide that from me. There's one person that I cannot read, and it's what attracted me to her the most, and that's my girlfriend. I could not read her. I could not read her because we are almost one and the same as far as how we think. So when we
looking in the mirror, and you found your
and it was so fascinating. So when I was pursuing her, I know that we were both reserved. So I knew that if this was going to work, one of us was going to have to drop our guard, and I knew it wasn't going to be her because I knew that I was willing to do it. So
beautiful.
I knew because I knew enough to know that we were one and the same. I couldn't read her actions. I couldn't read her at all. But I knew because we were one and the same how I would respond to situations. I knew that she would open up to me if I gave her parts of me, personal parts of me, because that's what endears me to a person. So
see, that's beautiful because I feel like there could be an opposite to that too. Like some people wouldn't like not being able to read someone. That's a little frustrating, and that could be like a roadblock. And for you, for that to be something that fascinated you and like drawed you to her more, that's really cool. I think that's really cool.
It was so fascinating because in my life, I walk down the street. 99% of the people I can read, and it's, as I walk past them, it just I sort of absorb it. And so that's something that I'm used to doing. But here's a situation where everything is black, and now it opens up that wonder. I have this wonder in me now again that I didn't have, that I'm not used to having. So it's one of those things that drew me into her. And to this day, I mean, I still can't read her, but I mean, I'm able to telegraph her actions based on how I would do some things.
Very cool.
We would play mental chess games, and it was fun for us. I don't know if, as a matter of fact, I told her, I said, I am completely exposed to you. You will probably be able to read me and that's the other thing. Most people can't read me. She can.
Very cool.
And so I told her, cool. I said, when I was pursuing her, I said, I'm laying, this is everything on the table. Because I can't hide from you, and I don't want to hide from you. And there's a security in that, knowing that I can't hide from you because I trust you with this.
Gonna cry. Okay, God, I'm gonna cry when I get emotional. So cute. My heart is just warm and fluttering right now. So cute.
So I don't want to make you cry or anything like that, but that's what endeared me to her. But anyway, I got on a tangent.
No, it was a good tangent. I love that.
So I want to have some fun. My observation with you is that you're even keel, and you don't present yourself in a reckless fashion, and that's cool. Not that I'm down to people that are reckless, but I want to challenge that a little bit. I want to have some fun with you.
All right. Oh my goodness.
All right.
Oh my goodness. What are we doing?
So let's see if we can bring out a little bit of the recklessness in you, just a little bit.
It's in me now. It's in me now. Okay. It's in me. This takes the right person to bring it out. Let's see what we got.
That's too easy of a question. I will ask that last. I'll start off small and let you build up to it.
Whew, okay, let's see. All right. I'm stretching. I'm ready.
What's the worst lie you've told to your parents?
Worst lie I've told to my parents? They're so particular about lying. That I wasn't having sex.
That you wasn't having sex?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Now, what made that? Was that the worst lie because they found out you were?
That was the worst lie because I feel like that was something they were willing to speak to me about. I think what makes a lie bad, and that's what my brain was thinking about it. I think that's what makes a lie bad, when there's like a chance for you to be honest about it, and you lie in that sense. And there's a lying by omission, lying by not telling the whole thing, but like lying when there's an opportunity for you to talk about it, and that might have you know, been a way for me to be more open with my parents, for them to be more open with me. That was probably the worst lie, but they found out.
Okay.
Quickly. I think they know I was lying. That's the thing about parents. The thing about lying to your parents, because they know. My mom used to always say, "I knew you were lying before you knew what lying was."
Mm-hmm.
She always says it. I'm like, "Ah, dang it! All right, well."
Mm-hmm.
Like to this day, I can't lie to my mother. I can't. I don't even try to. I stopped like 5 years ago. I was like, "All right, she know everything. Let me just stop."
As a kid, I used to lie all the time to my parents.
Same.
No idea why. But the one time I just tried telling them, I told them the truth. It was so freeing because I was like, wow. The situation was I was at my friend's house and their mom. It was like, oh, we were talking about sex or something, and we were having a group discussion. Like the families would get together, we would talk about it at that house. That's kind of where we would do it at because they were really involved and wanted to know what was going on in the kids in the neighborhood. So we were talking about it, and they kind of made a joke like, "Oh, do your parents know we're gonna tell your mom?" And I was like, they already know. And it's because I told them. I lied to them a bunch at first, and it was so freeing because no one could hold anything above my head because my parents already knew. And that's the stance I started taking with people going forward. I've already told you the truth. No one can tell you the truth the way that I can. They don't know it the way I know it. You don't have to ask anybody else because I'm going to give it to you, and I will.
Amen.
And I will, whatever the consequences are, I will, we'll deal with it. On a side tangent, people feel like if I tell the truth, that absolves me of my past transgressions. No, it doesn't.
Absolutely not.
It does not, because it should not have been the truth. That should not have been what you did. You know what I mean? So you still have to pay for that.
Right.
Anyway.
And so what I tell people with the truth is that, or what I guess what my parents would tell me or whatever, it doesn't mean you're absolved, like you said. It doesn't mean what you didn't do was wrong. But a coward doesn't own up to what he does. So,
exactly.
Let's be aware that, like, if I did this and, generally, if you're saying and you know what you were doing, you knew it was wrong at the time, or you knew how it might affect someone that you love, in a certain case. Mm-hmm. And so at that point, that's where telling the truth is beneficial. Or that's where, when I say you gain my respect and give me that respect and give me that chance to judge you or make my decisions based off your truth. Because if you lie, now not only are you giving me, a false foundation, but now you're showing me that you can't even be steadfast in what you do, even if it is wrong, and own up to your mistakes. And that's weird. Like, why would you do that? Like,
exactly.
People fuck up. And the main thing is, like, I'm going to fuck up too. And I really don't want to feel like I have to lie to you, and I never do. But right. I really kind of avoid people that I feel like I have to lie to, because it's always, a push and pull or like a judgment type of thing. So, people talk about honesty very, vaguely. And it's something very, very serious for me because of how I was growing up, And my sentence, quote unquote, my grounding sentence would be much lighter if I told the truth for whatever reason.
Exactly. in the end, it's just easier.
It really is. And we all fuck up, I'm telling you. If you think about fucked up thing you do and you lie about it, it's like, man, look, we all fuck up. Like, Just don't lie.
All right, so my next question, so we're building. What's the worst lie you've told a significant other?
I wasn't having sex. No, I'm just kidding. That's the answer to everything. That's the answer to everything. Worst lie I told a significant other. See, okay, so I just kind of defined bad lie. I think here I have to transfer bad lie into what was most detrimental to the relationship.
Okay.
And I think a very long time ago, I said that, I was completely in love and that this was what I wanted to do forever and that I wasn't going anywhere.
Oh.
And I think that was detrimental because we talk about how careful I am with my words and how I'm very serious. And I think at that time, it was a new feeling for me, so it was very real to me. But that didn't happen, so it kind of affected the way the person saw me, as well as our relationship in general. Not to say it was just me, but I don't think that was helpful. I think that was kind of bad to kind of say that out on a limb out of nowhere. But yeah, that's probably the worst lie, that I was going to be there forever, because clearly I wasn't.
What's the worst thing you've said to a guy?
Here's the thing. You trying to get me out of my reckless. So here's what I do. When I'm reckless, I put those out of my memory because I'm like, that's not Monique.
Oh, okay. So all right.
I
So it
put
didn't
that
happen.
deep
Okay.
in, Monique's like memory bank. Yeah.
Okay.
So look at me talking in third person. Good Lord. Dang, I've said a lot of bad things, Corey. Let me just put it like that. Let me not even front. Like I just
All right, pick one.
buried everything. This is really difficult for me. Am I really not bad?
Is it because you're searching, or is it that much stuff you trying to figure out which one is the least bad to say on this show?
No, I promise you it's not because I'm being completely transparent here. That's terrible. I don't know. I probably said something about, again, I'm so careful. I don't know. I probably said something about, like, it was probably my honesty coming off badly. So it was probably me saying something like, I do not like you, leave me the fuck alone. You're, like I said, like, I don't know, it's just not in me to be like reckless in that sense of like hurtful. But like sometimes, I don't express what I really feel in a good way or in the best way. So yeah, I think probably the worst thing I've said is just like, I don't like you. I never liked you. Leave me the fuck alone. Like, please.
That's strong.
But yeah, I'm not that creative with like the words because I feel terrible when I say something mean to someone. I'm like, nah, don't say that to me. Like,
all right, I got one more for you. Then you're off the hook.
Cool.
What's the worst thing you've done to another person?
My face just got so somber. So bad things to people. I ain't physically.
It could be physical. It could be emotional. It could be anything.
The worst thing I've done this
because we know you're not that person anymore.
Do we? No, just kidding. Yeah, I probably put my hands on someone. That was fucked up. That was not good.
I mean, we've all
have we all? Yeah, good.
We all been in fights. But what was significant about this instance?
Because being the woman that I am, you don't express your feelings, and that was the thing. It was my motive behind it. Was how I chose to express my feelings at the time, and I think there's 15 better ways to express yourself than violence.
Agreed.
And I think I expressed myself violently, and that was kind of weird. It was kind of weird, and I felt like it was like it's like an out of body experience too. Because I looked back and I was like, whoa, I was really angry. Like, and I think the thing I took really most from that was like to never, because everybody's crazy. It just takes one bad day, right? It just takes one bad instance, and I think that was like my instance where I was like, holy shit, I shouldn't be doing this shit. Like, I don't know what I'm capable of. Let me just chill. And so I avoid putting myself in those situations instead of saying like, oh, I'll never do that again. That was fucked up. I just don't put myself in those situations to where that won't even escalate to that point.
That's fair.
Yeah. But yeah, that's probably the worst thing I did. I just put my hands on somebody. That's never necessary. And I know that people that have put their hands on me, that forgiveness with that is not easy. Does not come easy to me. So.
All right, so you are officially off the hook. Did I miss anything? Is there anything that I didn't cover that you wanted to cover? I know we talked about a lot.
I think a lot of people want to hear me talk Spanish when we talk about my culture and me speaking another language, and people are like, nah, you can't speak Spanish.
All right,
and all that stuff.
Maybe
we could do that.
The floor is yours. Whatever you want to say in French.
What should I say? So I also speak a little bit of French too. Maybe I can do a little bit of French too. I don't know.
Fun fact. I can translate written French better than I can speak it.
Same.
Oh, okay,
so I'm not fluent in French. That French is the 8-year thing for me, to where I kind of tested out of it. I took it in high school and all that. Took a little bit in college and all that. So Spanish. Corey, gracias por tenerme en tu show and tu podcast what is the name of the podcast? Starring you. OTAPshow.
On the air podcast, right?
On air podcast. Gracias por todo. Me divertí. y tengo muchas cosas que hacer esta noche, pero tal vez puedo hablar con alguien que escucha este podcast y todo eso. Así que gracias again. Y eso es. So,
We've officially made it to Telemundo now. Univision.
Yes. I don't know. That was kind of freestyle. I didn't even know what to say because we talked about everything already. I was hoping we kind of bit the Spanish in the beginning, but I really just said thank you for everything, Coy. I hope that I can talk to some people listening to the podcast if they have any questions. Si tienen unas preguntas, dime y podemos hablar. Y eso es.
I am grinning from ear to ear because the people have been waiting for you to say something in Spanish, and you just did it here on the OTAP show.
Hey man, I don't even think I've done it on my show, honestly, Corey. So this is special because I haven't even spoken Spanish on my show.
Oh, there it is. Wait till they hear it on this show. Wait till they hear it.
¿Hablas inglés? ¿Hablas español?
Now she can't stop.
Miss Henry Baby is out here.
The OTAP show available in SAP, Espa&ntilde.
We got the subtitles like Narcos. We got it.
Right, exactly. All right, so before we go, plug your show again. Plug anything you want, anything you have going on, any place they can find you, whatever you want them to know.
Hey, man, thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for supporting Corey. Thank you for supporting SMS Pod. We have so much fun. I really like when people interact with me about my show, so tweet me, email me, text me, let me, give me feedback on what I could improve on and what I could do better, as well as things that you really like. And I would like more conversation about Black women history too. That's something that we do every show almost, and I love it. And I really, really hope that people got to know me a little bit better on this show. Corey, I was really excited when you said that you wanted to interview all of us. And I hope that people took away what I intended for them to take away. Mm-hmm. Intent and reception, or how people receive things, are not always the same. And so I hope that people gathered from this show that, I don't know everything. I don't know anything. A wise man knows if he knows nothing, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm still learning. So please, anybody hit me up about anything. I want to learn. Teach me. Let me teach you. Let's teach each other. Let's help each other learn. Learning is probably my favorite thing to do besides eating and having sex. But yeah, let's let's do that. Why not? I think what I liked about this most, Corey, was that you're so observant, and I feel like a lot of times when I go into things like this, there's a lot of misunderstanding, or I'm misunderstood, or I'm, people can't really read me, or people don't really know what I'm trying to say or what I stand for, or whatever. And I think it's really cool where you kind of just were able to read me, like you said, and you kind of hit everything right on point. And I don't like the cliche of being like misunderstood. Like, I'm just a misunderstood soul. Right. It's not necessarily that, like being offensive or like weird or whatever. But a lot of times my actions and my words can be misinterpreted just like anybody else, right? And as long as people take away that like nothing I've done, is of malicious intent, and like people, understand that I'm kind. If you're kind, you never have to say you're kind, but I'm saying it, so accept it. I'm kind, damn it. No, but yeah, I hope people understand, Miss Henry Baby, Monique, Mo from SMS Pod a little bit better, and I'm really, really glad you gave me this opportunity, and much love to everyone.
No
really,
problem.
Truly.
Tell them where they can email you at.
They can email me. My personal email. Go ahead and email me at the podcast.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. The podcast.
shortmessagepodcast@gmail.com. Love receiving emails. Is that kind of like an outdated way of communicating? I know that we use that in the workplace.
No,
but like personal people love to text and just tweet me. Text and tweet. But yeah, send me an email. shortmessagepodcast@gmail.com. Literally anything you want to talk about. Now, all of us are going to see it. All of us ladies are going to see it. So don't be too personal. But
right.
Please send me emails,
One other thing that I gotta say before I let you go is I love the text message sound on you guys'
Don't
podcast.
change it. There's so many little things in
I
there. You should
love that.
notice them.
I
It's in
love
the
that.
beginning and it's in the
It's in the
end.
beginning and it's in the end. Yep, I love that.
It's
I
a
love
full
that.
circle. Yes, yes. We put that in because the SMS. Well, it was initially Shayla, Mo, and Shuby.
Right.
So that's why it's SMS.
Yeah.
And then we were like, well, hey. And then we're like, hey.
Play off of it.
I just love how ideas kind of come. So yeah, we thought about this, Corey, and I really appreciate you noticing. We thought about this. We really did.
Cool. I cannot wait to be on you guys' show.
Corey. So when we have you on the show, we're gonna. Your birthday was when?
My birthday is so as of right now. This recording is the 22nd. My birthday is tomorrow, the 23rd.
So we don't get you for your birthday. Girlfriend gets you for your birthday, and we'll maybe put out the show. But hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we're going to have you on the show, and I'm very excited because you're someone else that has a podcast too. And so far, we haven't had anybody else that has a podcast as well on it. So that's going to be really fun. And I think I'm going to have to do as good of a job as you did interviewing here.
Feel free to go in.
honey. This is me being interviewed, so I am just reserved and well collected and all that right now. We gonna tear that up, okay? No, we don't go easy on our guests unless they say so. And then you just said we don't have to. So boom, ladies, Corey said it. Don't let him take it back. He said to go in, so we're going in.
There you go. All right, cool. This was fun. This
was fun. Thank
fun.
you. Thank you.
Thank you. Like, this is great. All right, cool. Well, we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
I'd like to thank our guests for coming on today. And if you'd like to be a guest on the show, send an email to otap@writeme.com. Follow the conversation on Twitter by searching the hashtag OTAP, that's OTAP, or following us on Twitter at OTAPshow. You can find the show on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Android users can listen to the podcast on Podcast Republic. Just download the app and search OTAPshow. On behalf of our guest, I'm your host, Corey, and I'll see you back here next week on the Air Podcast, starring you.